Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for WLBT Plus. My name is Cara Shirley. I'm your digital news desk host, and it is Tuesday. What date is it? It's the 26th of November. We have just a couple of days left until Thanksgiving. I hope you all are having a wonderful holiday week. Thank you so much for joining me, whether you're watching on our stream. Through our app or on our website. We do appreciate you. And if you're watching on any of our social streams, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, sometimes Twitch, thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, if you have any comments or questions or thoughts or anything like that, you can leave it in the comment section on our social streams. I do appreciate all of you tuning in. We do have a story to get to that happened here in Jackson earlier this morning. We heard from JPD Chief Joseph Wade earlier today on a murder that happened at the Pine Ridge Garden Apartments. I'm going to pull up the map here to show you exactly where this is. Here we go. So down here, you can see we have the Pine Ridge Garden Apartments is right off of Terry Road. We have I-55 here to the right of it. And if we scroll out or zoom out, you can see where it's at in conjunction with downtown Jackson. So probably in the middle of your screen here is approximately the downtown Jackson area. Down here towards the bottom left is where the Pine Ridge Garden Apartments are. So according to Chief Joseph Wade, a white male in his approximately in his 20s was shot and killed over a pair of shoes, a pair of tennis shoes. We're going to go to the press conference that Chief Wade had earlier today and hear directly from him.
And the young man lost his life. He was shot in the breezeway of one of the apartments. Based on the information that we got, this young man lost his life over a pair of tennis shoes. He was robbed of a pair of tennis shoes. He lost his life. We're looking for two individuals. We have their nicknames. One name is Scooter. The other one name is Maine. If you have any information about who these individuals are, we are actively looking for them for the charge of capital murder here at Rebelwood Apartments. As we identify who they are through our intelligence unit, we'll be pushing that information out to the media. You have any information, call JPD at 960-1234-601, 960-1234. or Crime Stopper 601-355-TIPS. Sad. And normally I'm not speechless, but I'm speechless today. Based on our witness account, this man was approached about his shoes. He refused to give up his shoes, and then he was shot in the head, and his shoes were taken. That is awful. It's disturbing. But what I can do as the chief of police is hold these two individuals accountable. We'll be looking for them throughout the day, the rest of the evening, and throughout the weekend to find out who they are and bring them to justice here in the city of Jackson. Any questions?
Well, this is the second incident that's been over something, I guess you could say, minuscule. I know recently it was one over a bike. Now this is about tennis shoes. Why do you think that people are choosing?
We have people in this community, some that are emotionally unintelligent. They don't know how to mitigate situations and circumstances, and they think that violence is the way to resolve issues and problems. But there is no excuse whatsoever for you to prioritize a pair of tennis shoes over this man's life. He lost his life today in a very tragic way because of the tennis shoes that he was wearing on his feet. That is sad. There's no excuse for it, but what I can do is hold these individuals accountable. So please help us hold them accountable. If you have any information about who they are, where they are, please contact us. And it's just a very sad day. Sad day. This is the holiday season, Thanksgiving coming up. This Thursday, we're supposed to celebrate, embrace, and enjoy each other. But this man's family has to be saddened, hurt, tragically hurt, because he lost his life over a pair of tennis shoes. We've got to do better as a city, a community, a state. And I don't know what that looks like. We have individuals who think that little of human life than to resolve, or resort to gun violence because you like this man's shoes. Unbelievable here today in the city of Jackson.
And so that was Chief Joseph Wade talking about the shooting that happened Again, this happened at the Pine Ridge Garden Apartments, which is in South Jackson. We pulled the map back up for you guys here. You can see Pine Ridge Apartments is right here. It used to be known as Rebelwood Apartments. It is on Rebelwood Drive, but it is now named Pine Ridge Garden Apartments. Actually, it's right here off of Terry Road in South Jackson. So Chief Wade said that the individual who lost his life was a white male in his 20s. He did not live there at this apartment complex, but he was visiting someone. His identity has not yet been released. They are waiting until they notify the next of kin. The individuals that they are looking for, who they believe to be involved in this and responsible for this shooting, their nicknames are Scooter and Maine. They will release to us the names of the individual or the suspects when they have it. They're working to get those, the real names at this time. And as soon as we get it, we will release it out to you guys. According to our tracker that we have here at WLBT, this is now the 103rd homicide here in the city of Jackson. Of course, some of those are worked by Capitol Police. Some of those are worked by Jackson Police Department. It's a very, very sad situation. Happened about 10:30 this morning. And again, the white male individual in his 20s was shot in the head and killed over a pair of shoes. Chief Wade did say that the shoes they believe to be, they were a pair of Air Jordans. But this is what we are looking at right now. If you have any information, if you live in that area and that you were home around 10:30 and you heard something, you saw something, if you have security cameras, if you have those Ring doorbell cameras, anything like that, look back on your camera, look around that time frame of 10:30, see if you have anything that you can turn over to the Jackson Police Department to help in the capture of the suspects. Of course, the suspects that they're looking for right now, Scooter is one of them. That's their nickname. The other one's nickname is Maine. We don't have their names or their mugshots yet, or any pictures to identify them yet. But as soon as we get those in, we will definitely send that information out along to you. Make sure, if you haven't done so yet, to download the WLBT News app so that you can get those notifications on breaking news. Extremely sad day, especially so close to the holidays. You hate to ever hear of someone losing their life to a incident that is so completely senseless as this one. But especially right before the holidays, before Thanksgiving, it is just an incredibly sad situation. And our thoughts and our prayers are going out to the family of the victim here. So if you have any information, please contact Jackson Police Department. Phone number 601-960-1234, or you can contact Crime Stoppers, and that phone number is 601-355-TIPS, 355 TIPS. Please help the police department in getting these suspects apprehended so that we can get some justice for this situation and for the victim's family. Looking here at the comments, a lot of people praying for the family. Marianne Fells praying for the family. Jennifer Bennett, very sad. Renee here, Renee Carter, saying this is so sad, praying for his family or for this family. And it's an extremely, extremely sad situation. But again, if you have any information, if you know of the suspects, if you know who they are, if you know where they're located, please contact the JPD and let them know so that we can get them in custody if they are actually responsible for this happening. So going on to some more news, some stuff that has happened here today. The Jackson bribery scandal that is involving several of the city council members here in Jackson, as well as the Hinds County DA, has been granted a continuance for this. So the trial date was originally set for the 6th of January. And today, U.S. District Judge Daniel Gordon granted a motion by attorneys to continue the case, which means to give them some more time before the trial date. They agreed that the case was complex and that the nature of the prosecution includes charges that typically require extensive proof. Also said, considering that all parties see the case as complex, which it is, and need more time to prepare, the court specifically finds that the end of justice served by taking such action outweigh the best interests of the public and the defendants in a speedy trial. So the new court dates will be set once both of the parties confer on how many days they will need for the trial, for jury selection, and the judge told the parties that they have to submit the information to the court within 14 days of today. So we will not be seeing a trial for this bribery case on January 6th. It will be scheduled for later in 2025. How later, we don't know just yet, but as soon as we get that information, we will pass it along to you. Then also here in our area, a policeman from the Pearl Police Department has been fired for allegedly stealing $32,000 from a dying woman. This is according to Mississippi Today. They released an article today. And they said that the Pearl PD fired patrol officer Taylor Lofton for reportedly stealing the $32,000. So the second officer, this is the second officer that has been dismissed for alleged criminal conduct from the Pearl Police Department. I apologize, for the Pearl Police Department in less than a year. So allegedly what happened here was on November the 18th, the morning of November the 18th, Jason Kelly's mother, Jackie, collapsed unexpectedly and his father called 911. They said ambulance workers arrived and 4 or 5 Pearl police officers, including Taylor Lofton, the one that was dismissed, arrived to the scene. Said his 80-year-old mother never recovered and possibly died of a blood clot that was unexpected. So she had just inherited $32,000 and she received that inheritance in cash and had it in a drawer in her bedroom. So after the ambulance and the police workers left, they looked for the cash and they determined that it had been stolen. They called the Pearl Police Department, who arrived back to their home. After that, the officer, Taylor Lofton, admitted that he had opened the drawer, said that he saw the money, but he insisted that he closed the drawer back, that he did not take off the camera. Kelly said that he turned off his camera and stole $32,000. Kelly, again, is the individual who called 911 for his mother who died. So Kelly also praised the Pearl Police Department's response, saying that they hope they press charges. He doesn't know if he is going to be getting that money back, doesn't know if the city is going to be paying it back. But right now, the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations is investigating this. Spokesperson Bailey Martin said the agency could not comment further, which is typical. They normally do not comment or give any details on cases until after the investigation is done. Mississippi Today did try to reach out to Lofton for comment, but was not able to get one. And we're just going to keep following this. So the Pearl Police Chief, Nick McClendon, said that there is no history or known history of this happening with this particular officer. But he said, and get to where the quote from him, when the chief was asked about possible criminal prosecution, he said he couldn't comment any further because, of course, the case is under investigation. But the department, he said, quote, must be concerned with even the slightest appearance of impropriety, especially in the area of law enforcement. So we will continue to follow this, and we will let you all know about what happens with this. But again, the officer's name is Taylor Lofton. He has been released from the Pearl Police Department for allegedly stealing $32,000 from a woman who he was called to the house because she was having had a blood clot and she was dying, and it was an unexpected thing for the family. And he stole the money, allegedly stole the money while he was there. It's a very sad situation. And I hope that it does get to the bottom of it and that we find out, is he actually guilty of this? Did this really happen? Or was this all a mistaken case? We don't know, but we will follow it and let you all know. Looking here at our comments, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. We have Sheila Scott. Hi, Sheila, saying hello. Magnolia Bell on YouTube saying good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. And let's see, Miss Sandra Cagle saying good afternoon as well. Appreciate all of you tuning in. If you have any comments or questions or thoughts or anything, please put those in the comment section. I'm reading because I can't put just anything up, but I'm reading the comments to make sure, see what you're saying here. All right, let's go on to another story that we've been following for a long time and will continue to follow it is the William Polo Edwards lawsuit. The first, not lawsuit, but the trial. So his first trial resulted in a hung jury. We know about that, and they are waiting to retry him. So Judge Faye Peterson has denied a request to delay the retrial of William Polo Edwards. Here he is on your screen in case you are not familiar with him. So he's charged with first-degree murder in the death of Robert Davis, who was killed at a home in Clinton 2.5 years ago. So Edwards is also charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. His first trial last year, as I said earlier, resulted in a hung jury. So prosecutors asked for the delay, saying that they could not guarantee that all of the evidence has been turned over to defense attorneys. The defense had also supported a continuance. Defense attorney says that it's been challenging to meet with Edwards since he is being held outside the metro area in Tallahatchie County, which is more than 2 hours away from us here in our area.
At that facility, it's a private facility. So here in Raymond, attorneys can go and visit their clients up until 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And that's basically 7 days a week, unless something happens. But at their private facility, you are at their directives, and so they only have a finite time period of visitation.
So Edwards' retrial is set to begin in less than 2 weeks on December the 9th. We will be following it. I'm not sure right now if we will be live in the courtroom. I'm not sure if we can have cameras in the courtroom at this moment, but if we can, we will definitely be streaming it here for you on WLBT Plus and keeping you up to date. We'll be keeping you up to date on it anyway. We will be there in the courtroom. We're just not sure if we can bring you guys with us in there live. But we will have someone in the courtroom telling us what is happening, and we will pass that information along to you, especially during our newscast. And so make sure you're tuned in for that. Timothy Herring, a court hearing for him will allow search warrants results to be presented at trial. So here it is. So this came out of a pretrial hearing that happened yesterday in Tapia County. Harrington is accused of killing Jaylee Oxford in 2022. His defense attorneys filed a motion to withhold some evidence from being presented at the trial, including what was found in a search of his apartments and his phone. The judge ruled that there was probable cause for Oxford police to issue search warrants, and the judge will rule today on whether Harrington was read his Miranda rights at the time of the arrest. We will continue to follow this case as well. Then we have 2 people who are now in custody after a deadly shooting happened in Northeast Jackson. And sadly, it is a couple of teenagers who have been charged in connection with this homicide. So 17-year-old Jalen Pearson and 18-year-old Jabari McClendon are charged with murder in the death of Lamar Washington. Lamar Washington was shot at the Trails at North Point apartment complex on November the 17th. Police did arrest Pearson this past Thursday, and they arrested McClendon, or McClendon was taken into custody on yesterday. There's still no word yet on a motive for this shooting, but we are definitely following it. And then in Sharkey County, some skeletal remains were found. NBI is investigating the discovery. 2 hunters discovered the remains in the Delta National Forest last Wednesday. The coroner said that though the remains had been there for a while, the remains have now been sent to the state crime lab for analysis. And as we get the information back on that, we'll pass it along to you. And then sadly, a man in Warren County has been arrested and charged with killing his own father. So according to the Vicksburg Daily News, Charles Dudley White, which you can see here on your screen, is charged in the death of his 74-year-old father, Charles Lee White. So the victim was found on October 29th on Culkin Road after a reported fall. The medical examiner later classified his death as a homicide, and now his son has been arrested, being accused of his murder, and is being held now without bond. And going forward, and some other information or stories that happen here, a man by the name of Charles Ray Crawford, which here he is on your screen, he was charged and convicted of rape and killing a 20-year-old woman in North Mississippi more than 30 years ago. And he can now soon have his execution date. Attorney General Lynn Fitch asked the Mississippi Supreme Court to set a new execution date for him. This came the same day the U.S. Court of Appeals denied his request for habeas relief in unrelated rape charge. Fitch is asking for the execution to be set within 30 days of today. And lawyers for Crawford responded saying all remedies aren't exhausted and he can appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. Of course, like we said, Crawford killed 20-year-old Christy Ray in Topeka County back in 1993. And medical marijuana is still in the courts here in Mississippi, but now a ban that is being upheld, a ban against advertising for them. So the owner of a dispensary in North Mississippi lost his efforts to overturn the ban on advertising medical marijuana products. Sorry, guys, get me hitting the wrong button here. So a 3-judge panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected his arguments in favor of such advertising. So he was asking them to let them advertise, and the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected that. The court cited the Federal Controlled Substances Act, which since 1970 has prohibited the manufacture, distribution, dispensing, and possession of marijuana. It's legal here in Mississippi for medical purposes. However, it is still illegal on a federal level. The owners of a dispensary in Olive Branch argued that he has a First Amendment right to advertise his products, which are legal under state law for people with, of course, was said debilitating medical conditions. So still cannot advertise for medical marijuana or marijuana here in the state of Mississippi, according to this ban. That has been upheld now. So we're going to now jump to listening or hearing from our sponsor. Y'all, I feel like it's Monday all over again. My brain is just not going to get in the right gear. But we're going to now hear from our sponsor, Jackson Water. Thank you to them for making WLBT Plus possible.
At Jackson Water, we are in the game and locked in on our goals. Every day, our dedicated teams are hard at work, ensuring that clean, reliable water flows to every home and business in Jackson. We are not just fixing pipes. We're investing in a brighter, more resilient future for our city. Jackson Water, water for all the time.
And again, thanks to Jackson Water for sponsoring WLBT Plus. Looking here on our stream, and we have Haley has said, I'm late and I missed the Lofton discussion. Can we do that again? Well, certainly. That's the joys and the benefits of this show, as we can jump back to other news that we've already talked about. So Taylor Lofton, a Pearl police officer, has been fired now for allegedly stealing $32,000 from a woman who the 911 was called for her. Her family called 911. She had a blood clot, a medical emergency. She ended up dying, and allegedly this officer stole $32,000 from the woman's home. What we're being told is that the woman had recently inherited $32,000, and she received that inheritance in cash, and the money was in an envelope in a drawer in her bedroom. And after the ambulance workers left, after the police officers left, the family was looking for the money and it was missing. And they called the Pearl Police Department back. Officers came out, and it was then that Lofton admitted to seeing the money in the drawer, but that he said that he immediately closed the drawer and he did not take the money. However, his body camera was off when that supposedly happened. So we are going to continue to follow that. MBI is investigating it at this time. They do not have anything to add to this, in which they won't remark on a ongoing investigation until it is done. That's very normal for the Mississippi Bureau of Investigations, but that's what has happened with that right now. And like I said, we will continue to follow it and bring you all of the latest updates on it. But thank you so much for asking. Anytime I'm talking about something, I've moved on to another story and you guys want to hear more, or you have more questions, or you need me to repeat something, just feel free to leave that in the comments and I'll definitely do it for you. Do not mind at all. Well, let's talk about what's happening today. We know, most of us know, that there is a lot of runoff elections happening. Last Thursday and Friday, I had Justice Jim Kitchens and Senator Jennifer Branning in with me from the race for Mississippi Supreme Court. They're in a runoff today. So if you haven't gone out and voted today in this runoff election, please make sure you get out and vote. Same rules apply as regular election day. Polls close at 7 o'clock. So you have plenty of time to get out and exercise your civic duty and vote. So if you live in the Supreme Court District 1, which includes just about all of central Mississippi and some of the Delta, you're going to be voting for the runoff between the incumbent, Justice Jim Kitchens, who is there on the right, and his challenger, she is Senator Jennifer Branning, and that is for the Mississippi Supreme Court. Then there is another runoff happening for the Court of Appeals, and this is in District 5 in South Mississippi between Jennifer Schlegel and Amy St. Pei. And then we have here locally some judges running off in Hinds County, Bridget Morgan and Yemi Kings, as well as Josh McCrory and Amanda Spencer. Those are the runoff elections that are happening today. Like I said, the polls are open until 7 o'clock. So if you have not yet voted, you got time to get out to the polls and let your vote be heard. Especially, these are local elections. These are the really elections that are really going to affect us here in Mississippi and in your local community. So you want to make sure that you get out and vote, especially with this being a runoff. Now here in Jackson, demolition of the old Eudora Welty Library in downtown Jackson is set to begin in January. So that is according to the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, which is overseeing the project after the city deeded the property to the state. So after this building is torn down, a new park will be constructed on the site to serve as a gateway to the two Mississippi museums, which will then be visible from State Street. The library closed last year after the city failed to address structural issues that have been going on there for years. This was originally a Sears department store a long time ago, but it was the Eudora Welty Museum, and it is now going to be torn down and a new park put in its place. And senior citizens in Canton now have their own place to go and do some activities for free. So the Johnny's Place, which is a nonprofit, they were very excited, which they should be very excited. So Johnny's Place, a nonprofit organization, opened their doors to their first location in North Canton on Monday to get elderly residents involved in the community. Between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, seniors can meet up and play games, participate in crafts, hold Bible studies, and get a free hot lunch. The goal is to get older residents active and help them create a community among those that are in a similar age group.
I have a lot of free time. I'm retired from the post office, and I just have a lot of free time, and I like to socialize with people, and that's the reason I signed up.
Since COVID, a lot of people have been isolated and staying in and cannot seem to get out. Then you get stuck in that rut and you don't want to come out. So we're trying to get them back out in the community, get them involved in activities and things of that nature.
So to participate in the daily events, you can go to their location, which is on George Washington Avenue in Canton, and this is next door to Greater Sims Chapel. Guys, let's look at the forecast real quick. Let's see what we're going to be looking at for Thanksgiving. And don't forget, our first alert weather team will be in here at 2:30 to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast. I know we do have some rain moving into the area, but if we look at our temperatures right now, look at that. Looking in we're in the 50s most across the board. A few 60s. Macomb, the warmest place right now at 62 degrees. So great temperatures out there. We do have some clouds moving into the area. We are expecting some rain later on, but right now there's no rain in the area. Our next 12 hours is looking to be pretty clear. Like I said, we do have clouds in the area, but we don't have any rain right now. And the next 7 days, cold, not just cool, cold nights overnight, dropping down into the mid 50s, and during the day in the lows in the 30s. It's going to be a great, perfect fall/winter feeling at Thanksgiving. Guys, that's the end of WLBT Plus. I'll be back tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you are safe out there. If you're traveling for the holidays, be safe. Get back to us safely so that we can continue to bring you the news. And I hope I see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Everyone have a great day.